Hey guys, I am Ibigandscary. I'm bringing you another StarCraft 2 replay, this time on Condemned Ridge on the ladder. This is posted by Mosa. In your bottom right corner, you have the red Protoss playing Zeco, and in your top right, Mosa, blue Zerg. Mosa, he's been posting stuff to Casted for a while now. Basically, he fell hard into the Platinum League from Masters, I think, and now he's on his way back up. I'm not sure if it was an intentional fall, like, you know, how some guys will just go on a losing streak to get back down there so they can build back up, or if it was just a fluke of a placement match. I know that some of those placement matches can be kind of hard. Anywho, Moses is on his way back up. I think now he's in Diamond from Platinum back up to Master, so it's going to be interesting to see what he brings to the table. At the Diamond level, usually you've got guys with some pretty solid build orders, but they're missing a little bit on the mechanics. Sometimes there's just one glaring flaw for each player, and each one's unique, and it's hilarious. So I really enjoy watching Diamond play. Pretty much, unless you're High Masters, I think Diamond's my second favorite thing to cast. All right. So Condemned Ridge is what we're on now. It's one of the brand new maps in this season. Small ramp leading down to the natural. It looks like Zeco is going to try to drop a pylon to deny that first expo. Even though Moses is not saving up for it right now. He's going to pool first, probably because he expected that he needed to get the Zerglings out. Zeco's pylon placement and Forge tells me that he's going for a Forge Fast Expand. He's already got the guy positioned down here, but he doesn't have nearly enough money, partially because he had to blow 100 on that pylon. It's probably a good investment, though. He's going to deny that expansion for the Zerg significantly longer than he's going to deny the expansion for himself. And Zerg needs the expansion far more than Protoss does, so it's probably an even trade, or at least in his favor. Both players now have the money. Mosa could do one of two things. He could double down on the aggression on the pylon, or he could just go ahead and expand up here on his third. It's incredibly popular right now, is just to go ahead and take the third, because everybody goes for that fast 3 max roach play right now, because it's incredibly effective, especially against Protoss. The timing is almost perfect. As long as you can prevent them from getting out too many immortals, it turns out to be completely devastating. Zeco is going to be working on that wall off as the Nexus starts to go up. We can see that 4 Zerglings are coming out for Mosa. He's going to use those to take down that pylon and then maybe put some aggression on the front door. But with that photon cannon being built, those Zerglings aren't going to be able to do enough damage to break down the wall as long as the wall is completed. And Zeco needs to drop at least 2 more structures here to finish off the wall off, and then he might need a unit, depending on where he puts the gap. See, a gateway goes down. And a gas steal for Mosa. He's got his extractor in place over one of the Vespene geysers. It's very frustrating for Protoss, because the gas is so crucial, especially if you're going to do some sort of early tech. It looks like Zeco had responded well by grabbing a geyser down there. He needed that 2 gas, but Mosa in turns decides to cancel out of his extractor, come up in the top left corner and build a hatchery. At the same time, he's throwing down 2 more hatcheries. He's getting that quick third that I was talking about with the early roaches, and you can see that there's no gas on the way right now because he's just doubling down on pure minerals, which is totally standard in this matchup, in this play, the early roach play. Obviously, he could be going for something else. That 3 base is really versatile for the Zerg. It allows them to do a lot of different things. He could maybe be going air. I've seen a quick muta play off of the 3 base just with the harassment, because with the 3 base you can kind of allow the other player to get up a 3rd base themselves, but with those mutas it allows for some wicked aggression, and the 3 bases make it so that they're very vulnerable to that aggression. This is interesting by Zeco. He threw down the photon cannon at just the right timing, so both unit structures are going to be finishing at the same time, because if this photon cannon had finished before the hatchery, then he could Mosa could just have canceled the hatchery, and then that would have been 150 minerals lost, whereas it was only 100 or 75 minerals for Mosa, a net loss for Zeco. But as the timing is now, it makes it so that Mosa's hatchery has to finish, otherwise he can just cancel the photon cannon himself. But the photon cannon does go down. Some larvae are going to be spawning up, maybe some Zerglings on the way. That hatchery has so many hit points that single photon cannon is not going to be enough to finish it off completely before we can see a queen is being built. So yeah, there's going to be plenty of units in the main base right now, and with a single gateway, he's not going to have a lot of units to deal with that. The 3 photon cannons, though, is going to keep the aggression off the front door. 4 Zerglings come out, just do a little bit of pressure to the probe line. Some slight reaction from Zeco. He didn't pull all of his lines, probes, and then as a result, about 4 or 5 workers go down. Finally, he pulls the rest of his probe line, and that hatchery does finally go down, but not without taking out the zealot that was in the area. 2 more Zerglings come out just for a little bit more pressure, but we can see that Mosa has gotten 100% saturation on all of his bases, but still absolutely no gas at all. So he's been able to get units inside the base with no gas. There's no tech at all. But as soon as one of the Roach Warren goes down, we can expect him to grab at least 4 geysers so he can start mainlining those roaches. Now we can see that two geysers have already been grabbed right now. The queen goes down. We still have 2 creep tumors in the base. If Mosa is clever, he'll kind of kite those creep tumors around. He's got to be careful of the photon cannon, but right down here, yeah. So that creep is going to deny any building placement. Oh, canceled. What a clever guy. He canceled it without letting it go down. It looks like it was just barely within the sight distance of the sentry, because those aren't invisible until they successfully spawn. We can see that Zeco is going, it looks like a 6-gate and a robo for the aggression. Robo is an excellent choice just because of the immortals against the roaches. We can see the roach warrens down, and all 4 of the, oh no, all 6 of the gas have been grabbed by Mosa, so he's going to have quite a lot of gas, maybe thinking about getting some upgrades. We can see 2 macro hatches coming down, so Moses is definitely transitioning to a much more powerful macro-oriented play, away from the aggression that he did. That early aggression was successful. He definitely stunted the mining that was going on in the main for a period of time, and with Zeco only on 3 bases, he didn't use the time afforded to him by Moses's kind of passive start to grab an early 3rd. So he's going to be behind on bases, which is not the end of the world, especially for Protoss. If there's one run race that can do stuff off of a single base, it's Protoss. But still, he's going to have to make some form of aggression happen soon, and it looks like he's gearing up. He's got the sentries first, which is a great idea because those sentries are just going to be stockpiling energy over time. And we can see a single Immortals on the way. But on the other hand, Moses has got his 1/1, 1 range, 1 armor, as well as the metabolic boost coming. As soon as he got that gas, you can see it's just flying up. And then with both of these hatcheries finishing spawning, there's just going to be so many larvae that he's going to be able to mass produce units incredibly quickly. Moses is feeling confident right now that he's going to be able to hold off the aggression coming from the base. You see he had a Suicide Overlord in a little while ago, and he saw the robo. I don't believe he has had scouting in the base to the level where he's seen all of these gateways, but he's going to know that there's quite a lot, especially after he sees this unit composition. Gateway units, not the most hard counter thingy to go against roaches, so Moses is feeling pretty confident that he can hold off the aggression, and I agree. I mean, he's got 3 bases and he's got 2 macro hatches. He's going to be able to produce so many roaches so very, very quickly. And he's going to be max supply in about 20 seconds. But Zeco's moving out with an intimidating force, especially all these sentries. The force fields are going to be able to cut units in half at the chokes. As long as Zeco plays it smart and doesn't overextend himself, allows himself time to cut these units in half, he might be able to deal with this force. But he doesn't want to deal with the entire force at one time, because that would be absolutely devastating. These 2 Immortals are going to be raining down fire. You saw that he dealt with about a quarter of Moses' standing army without any damage at all. Like he just destroyed it very, very quickly. But unfortunately, as soon as he extends out, then Zeco comes in with that perfect concave, and he's just going to be picking up these units. Unfortunately, the sentries have just a little bit less of a range than the stalkers, so they like to get out in front of the stalkers and exposing themselves because they're so delicate to the roach's fire. And if Moses's roaches cut them down, then the force fields, which is really the only edge that Zeco has in this engagement, is going to go down, and then they're going to be on even footing, or at least Moses is going to be on superior footing because he's maxed again. Zeco is floating a little bit of resources, but these roaches push in, closing the distance, making it so it's hard to get those force fields that they need. But Zeco just throws down another line and retreats. But now those energies, the energy that the sentries have been saving up, you can see that only 2 of them have any energy left. The rest of them are very small, maybe only having enough energy for a single force field each. A couple of the sentries are going down now as the shields have been destroyed. We only have 4 left. And as those sentries go down, then the force fields are going to be less, and then eventually Moses is going to be able to flex his entire might and just burst down the wall that the sentries create and get into those immortals. Zeco knows that he's going to have to pull back. Moses is going to push back. He needs to deny this third. He needs to keep Zeco on 2 base. And then at the same time, as Moses expands, Zeco gets farther and farther behind, and he can just afford to throw away army after army of roaches. I mean, you can see the supply difference. So the mineral count difference, it's almost 21 to 14. That's just ridiculous. This army gets caught in a wedge, no energy for any force fields, so finally Moses just throws his entire army on Zeco. Zeco caught in between a rock and a hard place. If he had blink, he could probably have salvaged all the stalkers. He's got 2 immortals in the warp prism, which he could have dropped up on the high ground. Yeah, he would have lost the third, but I don't think he would have. I don't think Moses would have been able to push up into the main, not with the photon cannons there and another immortal being spawned. I think that was a premature quit. I think he was very frustrated because he couldn't make anything happen. Yep, I think he was a diamond player. And you know, it looked bad, but if he kept fighting, he could have made something happen. Moses, that was a great game, buddy. Thanks for posting it. Let me know what you think. Leave me a comment or not. You could always PM me if you have another game you want me to cast. I hope you guys liked it. I will see you around.